Welcome back to another lesson of Section 2, where we continue our exploration of Palestine under ancient empires. In this section, we will explore how Palestine was shaped under the control of various ancient empires. In this lesson, we will specifically focus on the Assyrian and Babylonian periods, examining their conquests and the profound impact their rule had on the political, social, and cultural landscape of ancient Palestine. Let's start with the Assyrian conquest and rule. The Assyrian Empire was based in northern Mesopotamia, with its capital at Nineveh. By the mid-9th century BC, Assyria had become the dominant power in the Near East, known for its powerful military, advanced siege warfare, and brutal tactics in subduing rebellious territories. Under rulers like Tiglath-Pileser III, Shalmaneser V, and Sargon II, Assyria extended its control over the Levant, including Palestine. Let's address the conquest of Israel now. The Kingdom of Israel, located in the northern part of ancient Palestine, became a vassal state of Assyria under Tiglath-Pileser III. However, repeated rebellions against Assyrian dominance led to the empire's decisive intervention. In 722 BC, the Assyrian king Shalmaneser V launched a military campaign against Israel, capturing its capital, Samaria. His successor, Sargon II, completed the conquest, leading to the fall of the northern kingdom. The Assyrians deported a large portion of Israel's population to other parts of the empire, scattering them across different regions. This event gave rise to the concept of the lost tribes of Israel. As the northern kingdom's identity was effectively erased, and its people assimilated into the Assyrian Empire. Judah and Assyrian domination. The southern kingdom of Judah, under King Ahaz and later Hezekiah, also faced pressure from Assyria. However, Judah managed to maintain its independence as a vassal state by paying heavy tribute to Assyrian rulers. King Hezekiah of Judah rebelled against Assyria around 701 BC, prompting a siege by Sennacherib, the Assyrian king. Although Jerusalem was besieged, the city was not captured, possibly due to an outbreak of disease in the Assyrian camp, according to both biblical and Assyrian records. Now let us see the impact of Assyrian rule. Assyrian rule brought significant changes to the region. The northern kingdom of Israel was effectively destroyed, and the surviving population was replaced by settlers from other parts of the empire. This mix of peoples and cultures laid the foundation for the later emergence of the Samaritans. In Judah, although Jerusalem survived, the kingdom was weakened economically and politically. Assyrian rule also influenced religious practices, as Judah's king struggled with the temptation to adopt Assyrian deities and customs, which led to internal religious reforms. Assyrian dominance over Palestine reshaped the region's demographic and political landscape, leaving a lasting legacy of displacement, cultural integration, and resistance. Now let's explore the Babylonian conquest and exile. After the decline of the Assyrian Empire, the Babylonians rose to power under the leadership of Nebuchadnezzar II. Their conquest of the Levant had a profound impact on the kingdoms of Judah and the broader region of Palestine. We will now see the rise of Babylon. The Neo-Babylonian Empire, based in southern Mesopotamia, emerged in the 7th century BC after successfully overthrowing Assyrian rule. Under King Nebuchadnezzar II, Babylon became the dominant force in the Near East. Nebuchadnezzar's ambitions included securing control over the Levant, including the kingdom of Judah, which had managed to survive Assyrian rule. The siege and fall of Jerusalem. In 597 BC, after King Jehoiakim of Judah rebelled against Babylonian authority, Nebuchadnezzar launched a military campaign to subdue the rebellious kingdom. Jerusalem was besieged and King Jehoiakim died during the siege. His successor, Jehoiachin, surrendered, and the Babylonians deported much of Judah's elite population, including skilled artisans and officials, to Babylon. A few years later, in 586 BC, After another rebellion led by King Zedekiah, Nebuchadnezzar returned to Jerusalem. This time he destroyed the city, including the first temple, which had been the center of Jewish religious life. The majority of Judah's population was either killed or taken into exile in Babylon. This event is known as the Babylonian Exile. The Babylonian exile was one of the most significant events in Jewish history. Thousands of Judeans were forcibly removed from their homeland and settled in Babylon. Despite their exile, the Jewish people maintained their religious identity, continuing to worship Yahweh and follow the traditions of their ancestors. The exile had a profound impact on the development of Judaism. It was during this period that the Jewish people began to compile and codify their sacred texts, including the Torah, which would later become the foundation of the Hebrew Bible. The exile also reinforced the importance of monotheism and the concept of a covenant between Yahweh and the people of Israel. Impact of Babylonian rule. The destruction of Jerusalem and the exile of the Jewish elite marked the end of the kingdom of Judah as an independent entity. The region of Palestine was reduced to a provincial status within the Babylonian Empire. The exile created a diaspora community, with many Jews settling in Babylon and establishing thriving communities. These exiled Jews played a crucial role in preserving Jewish traditions and identity during this period of displacement. Although the Babylonians allowed some autonomy for the remaining inhabitants of Palestine, the cultural and political landscape of the region was significantly altered. The destruction of the temple and the displacement of the Jewish people left a lasting scar on the region's history. The Babylonian conquest and subsequent exile not only reshaped the political landscape of ancient Palestine, but also transformed Jewish religious and cultural identity, with long-lasting implications for the region and for world history. We will now address the topic of the legacy of Assyrian and Babylonian rule. Both the Assyrian and Babylonian empires left an indelible mark on the history of Palestine. The conquests, deportations, and political changes during these periods had far-reaching consequences for the region's population and culture. Cultural and religious changes. The displacement of populations, particularly during the Assyrian and Babylonian deportations, led to significant cultural and religious changes. The northern kingdom of Israel was never fully restored after the Assyrian conquest, and its population was replaced with settlers from other regions, leading to a blending of cultures that would give rise to the Samaritans. In Judah, the Babylonian exile played a key role in the development of Judaism. The exile forced the Jewish people to reimagine their relationship with Yahweh without a physical temple, leading to the emergence of synagogues as places of worship and study. First, let's see the political impact. The fall of both Israel and Judah marked the end of independent Hebrew kingdoms in Palestine. The region became a battleground for larger empires, and the political autonomy of its inhabitants was severely curtailed. This period of foreign domination would continue under subsequent empires, including the Persians and the Greeks. The Jewish people, both in Palestine and in exile, developed a sense of longing for restoration and return to their homeland, which would become a central theme in Jewish religious thought. What was the legacy of the empires? The Assyrians and Babylonians introduced administrative systems and infrastructure that would be adopted by later empires. Their rule also set a precedent for the use of mass deportations as a tool of empire, a practice that would be repeated by subsequent imperial powers. The destruction of the first temple and the exile of the Jewish people would leave a lasting mark on Jewish history, culture, and religious identity, influencing their experience under later empires. It's time to conclude our lesson. In this lesson, we have explored the Assyrian and Babylonian periods, focusing on their conquests and the profound impact of their rule over Palestine. The destruction of the northern kingdom of Israel by the Assyrians and the fall of Jerusalem to the Babylonians were defining moments in the history of ancient Palestine. These events not only reshaped the region politically, but also had a lasting influence on the cultural and religious identity of the Jewish people. As we move forward, we will examine how subsequent empires, such as the Persians and Greeks, continued to shape the history of Palestine.